Well. Formula One, it's a simple sport. Drive around for nearly 2 hours, and at the end of it, Lewis Hamilton wins. But it wasn't so simple this week, was it? Welcome back to the Pitlane podcast.
I like
Forgot the name of the pod. Nearly forgot the name of the pod for a second. I'm your host, Jacob Wilsonow, and joining me as ever, it's Sam the Brew. How you doing, mate?
I am doing so well, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm still buzzing. I'm not going to lie, I'm still buzzing.
Well, some of us were very lucky, weren't they?
Oh, what an incredible day. I burnt all over. I burnt in places I didn't know I had. What an incredible day.
Worth it, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix, and what a story we've had. Oh.
Should he have been there to win it, though?
I think that's probably the best place to start, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be the most
talking point from this weekend.
Yeah. What did you make of the penalty? Because I think because I've watched it a few times now. I just want to see what you think first.
I've watched this about 20 times, and there is an argument for both sides. There is Max didn't expect Lewis to push that corner. He's gone into that thinking, "Oh, Lewis must have backed off." Didn't back off. Hits him, goes into the wall. On the other, and you could say, well, Lewis was at one point beside him, so he has to give him a bit more space and not assume that it's just solely his corner. There's two of you going into one there. Obviously, two does not go into one. Lewis's side, like he done with Charles, because Lewis proved what he could have done with Charles Leclerc, and back off, find the apex, back off, and keep going at him. So I get why he's got the penalty. I get why he wouldn't have got the penalty. I'm so split on this. But to say that Lewis Hamilton is a disgrace to the sport and all this, back of the grid start, shut up. That's just stupid. But I think the penalty, as soon as I saw the 10 seconds, I was like, okay, I can see that. If they wouldn't have given the 10 seconds, I probably would have got it as well. I'm literally split right down the middle of this.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same here. Initially, I didn't really have the best view of it because our view of the screens wasn't fantastic. But I kind of got used to it as the race was going on. So initially, I had no idea what we're going. With everything going full speed, me watching it first time, I thought that Hamilton was ahead.
Yeah.
But then obviously seeing that, because like being caught up in the moment, because he was ahead so many times, and Max just kept pulling it back for the corners, and I was just sort of caught up in like everybody cheering.
Yeah.
But then seeing the replays, and obviously it's Hamilton's front left hitting Max's rear right. So I don't know. I feel like if it was a slower corner and it wasn't championship rivals, I don't think many people would have said anything about it. I think the penalty would have been given, and it would have. We would have just sort of moved on. I think Red Bull have a right to be annoyed on the basis that these are championship rivals. This puts a big dent in their championship hopes. It's obviously it's not over, but it helps Lewis.
What would your reaction have been if it was the other way around?
I don't know.
I don't think the reaction would be as big. Personally, I really don't think the reaction would be as played up if it was Max going into Lewis.
I think part of the reason that Horner especially was so annoyed was the fact that that was Red Bull's race over on lap 1.
Yeah, because Perez
The
was so far
most,
behind anyway.
yeah, the most you could have expected Perez to do was points, but obviously he was also mad because it was a high-speed corner. Max has hit the wall with a lot of speed there, and so it turned out quite dangerous. But I think if you take the move in isolation of the aftermath, it does seem to me like a racing incident.
Yeah, I mean, it is a racing incident, but I can see why the penalty was given.
I personally think that both drivers could have done more to avoid it.
Oh yeah,
I think Lewis probably could have been further right because if you look at the stills between him on that overtake with Leclerc, he's much closer to the curve
yeah.
than he is on the
He
one
finds
with
the apex
Verstappen.
with Leclerc.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen the onboard of Max, he actually initially turns right, then sort of corrects to take the corner, and then when he sees Lewis, he turns right further. So I think they both could have done
I
more
reckon
to
he was
avoid
trying
it.
to force him into braking, and Lewis was not going to brake.
Yeah, yeah. So they both could have done more to avoid that. I
Yeah.
think anybody saying that Hamilton has done that on purpose is being a bit
Oh no, they're
ridiculous
being.
because
I mean,
nine
Lewis
times
has
out of
backed off all
ten,
season.
yeah, 9 times out of 10, that sort of a collision would have ended up in them both retiring.
Yeah.
Hamilton's lucky that he didn't have to retire as well.
I mean, even with
So,
minor damage to the car as well.
so he's not done that on purpose. I don't think either
No
driver's done
chance.
that on purpose. It's just the fact that Max has come off a lot worse. That
Just the fact that they're both racing. That's the thing. They're
yeah,
both racing hard for a championship, and
and
I, I've
if you take the
after you say,
context of that lap as well, they were battling so hard around every corner. You're
yeah.
not
Well,
in a
Max didn't get the
split
best of
second.
starts, and Lewis
Yeah,
did get he got a better start. And yeah, to say that that was done on purpose is a very stupid comment
yeah.
because
I
it could have been both of them DNF'd and Charles Leclerc a race winner.
I would say there probably were better corners that he could have gone for that on. It was probably a bit of a rash decision, but when you're going that
But
fast,
despite
and
that, I'd argue. I was saying you're telling a race driver not to. By the way, don't do an overtake here. It's like that's such a silly thing to say to a racing driver. But he
yeah,
got a move done on Norris there. He got a move done on Leclerc there, and even other people further back in the field. That was a bit of a hot spot for overtaking today. Well, I say today, the other day.
I, I think as well, like I don't think with how much speed he was getting off the straight beforehand, I don't think he expected Verstappen to be in front of him going around there either.
Yeah,
I think he makes that move to the right. If you're looking at purely at his onboard, it looks as if he clears not Leclerc, Verstappen. Looks as if he's cleared him, and then as he's coming back round the corner, that's when you see him again.
yeah.
It, it's just I think part of what's got everyone so angry as well is the result, the fact that Hamilton's managed to pull back this impossible result where the atmosphere was just insane. The last 10 or 15 laps, it was just coming over on the commentary. Like they were checking in with the lap times every single lap. They were like, Hamilton's a second a lap faster here.
Yeah,
And he was making that second every single lap and just charging down on Leclerc, who, to be fair, did have his problems
he had engine
with
problems.
the engine. But it was such a shame for him because he did so well. He did so
That was
well
a
to get
near
it.
perfect weekend.
Yeah, I think it could end up going a little bit understated how well he did this weekend. To qualify in fourth initially, hold that in the sprint race, and then I think he beat Bottas off the start, didn't he? And then to
Yeah,
take the opportunity of getting in front of Hamilton when Verstappen went off. It was almost perfect for him, and I do feel bad for him, but
I do feel bad, but I mean, if you would have told Leclerc, oh, by the way, you're going to finish P2 today, he would have snatched your hand off, wouldn't he?
yeah, I think he would. So shall we move down the grid? We've got P2. I think we've covered Leclerc. I think when they first came over the radio telling him about that engine problem, I was like, oh.
Oh yeah, I heard he was literally
Unlucky.
saying it cut off, and I was just like, no, please don't. I would have been so sad if that engine would have gone.
Because he was dealing with that for the majority of the race, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, towards the end, I was willing Hamilton to get closer because I mean, I wanted to see a Brit win just because of the roar of the crowd. I mean, you should have heard the boo when the penalty came on.
Oh.
Well, I mean, half the fans were booing, half the fans were cheering. There was quite a few Verstappen fans around. In the general admission area below where I was, it was mostly Verstappen fans down there.
Yeah.
So there was it was quite weird. There was a cheer from the grandstand and a boo from the general admission. Yeah,
understandable though.
Yeah, it was never going to be a popular decision, whatever they did. Valtteri Bottas, P3. He's got it on the podium. What did you make of it from him?
P3 in qualifying, P3 in the sprint, and then P3 in the race. Mr. Consistent.
It's not something he's known by usually.
I mean, if Bottas can't get, I mean, I think the thing with Bottas, if he gets on the podium, he's, you can't really ask more. I mean, obviously, I want to see him win a race, but if he's getting P3, I mean, he let Lewis by as well. I didn't expect that. I don't know, maybe because he actually is now fighting for his place.
Yeah.
I think maybe he might. Yeah, of course. Whatever Lewis needs, I'm there. Don't worry. I'll be that team player. I'll be that second driver. That's why you guys love me. But
I think that's the way that he keeps that seat. If there's any way
becoming
that he keeps
the very
seat,
thing he swore to destroy.
because they don't want another Nico Rosberg fiasco, do they?
They don't want that.
And signing up George Russell is an unknown. Like you don't know if there's going to be that tension there.
That would be tasty, I think, with Russell. Because on paper you'd think, he'll be letting Lewis by and stuff. But I don't think he will. I would think, if he wants to get by me, he's got to race me. I'd love to hear something like that from Russell.
Toto would be having nightmares.
He'd be sending emails. He'd be so annoyed.
Oh, that was brilliant.
I love the emails.
I love the radio between the FIA and the team.
I don't check my emails during a race.
that was so funny. They're just all the Red Bull team are coming over there distraught, and he's like, "Yep, take it up with the stewards. That's why they're
that's why they're there."
What did you make of Lando?
I was just about to say, should we talk about the main man who sponsors this very podcast? Obviously, this is the McLaren fan podcast. I thought he done well. The fact that P4 is average for Lando now says so much. Like, P4 is standard now for Lando Norris.
And it's a shame as well with the pit stop.
I think it was every team though was struggling with the heat. It was every team was struggling in the pits. I mean, Sainz was sat there for God, I don't know how long was his one. Sainz was there for a while when he was chasing. If he doesn't have that pit stop, he probably catches Danny Rick for P5.
Yeah.
I think a few teams were struggling with the pit stops today. But despite that, I thought it was a good race from Lando. I thought he was kind of on his own for a bit. He kind of cleared Danny, and then maybe without that pit stop he goes for Bottas. But I don't think he would have held on if he had. I don't think he would have held on for third anyway today. So P4 was I think a good race. Yeah, giving him the chance for P3 would have been exciting to see.
Yeah, because when he were out of the pits, they were just he was too far back. There was just no way you were going to press him. But yeah, Danny Rick, a good 4-5 for the McLaren.
Go on, the boy! Go on, the boy! I
tell you what, when Sainz had that pit lane fiasco and he came out, I thought for sure he was going to clear Danny, but he just kept him behind him.
Yeah,
he kept him going, kept him honest. But I tell you what, though,
he defended beautifully. Beautifully. It's a shame not seeing him on the other end, but when he's in defensive mode, it was a very good defensive drive. I'd say that McLaren's so quick in the straights. He was able to pull away from Sainz. I mean, another thing as well, the McLaren in straight line speed was brilliant, but Ferraris on medium tyres did not show. I think they could have gone for longer. They were making their mediums last so well. They were keeping them in such good condition. They didn't quite get the same on the hards. Probably, I think Danny was able to just keep him at bay. I think if Leclerc didn't get second, Danny would be my driver of the day, to be honest. But I still, if P5 is best finish in a McLaren, I just hope this now starts just a string of results that just remind me of how good the man is.
Well, this Ricciardo Sainz battle has been something that we're starting to get a bit. It's starting to become a bit of an occurrence. Sainz got the better of him in Austria, and I thought that might have been the way it ended this weekend. But yeah, good finish from Ricciardo. But I tell you what, though, both Ferraris did well in the race, considering the sprint.
Yeah.
Sainz got a poor qualifying. I think was it P10, P9, I think, in qualifying. Then he dropped back in the sprint race, and then I think he dropped down to about 11th, didn't he, in the sprint race, and then managed to put it 12th. 12th. So yeah,
12th, and then he pulled it back. Yeah. I mean, Carlos, he's such a good driver. I love Carlos. You can't really. I don't think Ferrari could have asked any more of him today. Maybe get 5th, but Daniel was driving so well. P6, and no one was really behind them, were they? I think Alonso was 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, Alonso was doing his own thing, but you can't really blame him for not. I tell you, he's another one that I thought did brilliantly.
Fernando,
yeah, he just owned that sprint race, didn't it? He's just like,
he was class.
Yeah, just took 6 straight off the start.
It reminded me of Karima, literally just, go on then, I'll take this.
I was watching it on Channel 4 this week, not on Sky, and Mark Webber was brilliant. They were talking about Fernando's overtakes, and when he went by George Russell, he was like, he just went, "Yeah, still got some learning to do, mate." As Fernando flies past,
he was rolling back the years, though.
Yeah, he's just sort of like, he's really brought it on, hasn't he, in the last few races? Just
sometimes I forget. I mean, no disrespect, but there were times earlier in the season where I was like, I actually forgot Alonso was back, and then he pops up in like P6. I'm like, oh yeah, you're here. And it's like, oh, you've done well today.
Yeah, he was
a contender for driver of the day as well. I think had a great weekend.
He was. Well, I think if you take the whole weekend into consideration, I think he's definitely up there. He wasn't great in qualifying, but then just brought it on in the sprint race. I think made 4 places up in the sprint race.
Yeah.
Then managed to hold a P7, and I don't think he could really argue with that too much. I don't think
don't argue with
going
that.
in. I don't think he would have expected too much more.
No.
Now, past Alonso is where it gets quite interesting, I think, because you've got the rest of the point scorers: Stroll, Ocon, Tsunoda. I think they've all done well there.
Yeah, I'd say. Considering the
Tsunoda,
Vettel spin, I think, Stroll had to get points. Ocon as well is he's got to put it close to his teammate, and Tsunoda beating Gasly is quite big as well.
Tsunoda being the only Honda-powered driver making it in the top 10.
No wonder they're leaving.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about Tsunoda. I just love seeing him in the points. I just get this feeling from him.
I do love Tsunoda. He's such a good character. I think he's great to have on the grid. But yeah, that's it. He's got to have more drives like this as well. I think he's got to have. I think just keep trying to beat. I mean, he'll take P10s. Like that's the thing.
Yeah. Ahead of Gasly as well.
It is only Alpha. Yeah, that's the thing. Ahead of Gasly, but it is still. I know Gasly's an immense driver. Sometimes I forget. I mean, Gasly will do a great performance, and Tsunoda may be 12th or something like that. But then sometimes I remember, but he is in an AlphaTauri, so you can't really blame him sometimes if he finishes out of the points because he's still in. I think the 8th or 7th best car on the grid.
I think he's had a good weekend. I think by his own standards, I think Gasly's had a bit of a shocker this weekend. He never seemed at it, did he? I
don't think he was ever going to do anything this weekend.
Yeah, he never really threatened being. He never really threatened the points, really, did he? Going all the way back to Friday with qualifying, he was out in Q2. He didn't really do much in the sprint race. And then, just quiet again in the race.
Yeah. Didn't really challenge anything, did he?
Yeah, which is a shame for him because I think he's had prior to this he's had a really good start to this season. I think we'd said most weeks he's massively overperforming in that car. Yeah, do you think it's a case of this weekend of is that the true pace of that car, or is it a bad one for him? Because we've seen him a couple of races getting up into. I mean, he seems like one of them that's nailed on to get a Q3 at the moment. Yeah. And last couple of races qualifying in P6, and it sort of that car is so hard to judge. I think at the moment.
Yeah, it's weird. Some weekends it's amazing. Some weekends it looks like an AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I think it makes it even stranger seeing Tsunoda above him. I think if Tsunoda was like a place behind him rather than a place above him, you'd probably think, oh well, that's probably just the pace of the car this weekend. But seeing him outperformed, kind of, I don't know. I think by his own high standards, he's maybe had a bit of an off day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's partially because he sets the bar so high.
Yeah.
Now, our next victim, George Russell. 12th place, though.
This man needs a Mercedes seat.
He just never gets any luck, does he?
This man needs a Mercedes seat. Like, if he doesn't get it, I don't know.
Do you think... I personally would say he's been a bit of a victim of the sprint race. because he put it P8. I know he only lost one position, but I feel like we know that this car doesn't really have much race pace.
Yeah.
So making him having to do more laps in a race situation wasn't going to help him. Then he gets a penalty.
A question, as whilst we're on the topic of the sprint race, would you say the sprint race helped the weekend, or do you think it was just kind of unneeded?
I'm kind of split. I feel like we need.
I think it would have been great if that sprint race meant that, let's say although Giovinazzi put it 7th, stayed there. I mean, okay, this is quite interesting. Like, it didn't really. It kind of switched up the grid, but I think in terms of the spectators, like if you go to, I mean, now if you get a ticket on a Friday, you're going to see practice and a quali, which is good. Well, a good day out. On a Saturday, you're going to see practice and a race. Even though it's a short race, it's still like kind of like a Sunday. And then on the Sunday, you're going to get the race. So I think as for the weekend and like spectatorship, it was good to watch. I mean, I had so much like that Friday when Russell put it 8th, I was loving it. And then the sprint race as well, when Verstappen took Hamilton off the line, I was just like, okay, here we I'm liking this. And then, but I don't for the like, if the cars for next year are going to make it so you're going to get more overtakes, it's going to be easier to overtake. It'd be easier to follow cars into corners and stuff. Do they really need to do a sprint race? Me personally, I would keep it for maybe a few of the race. I'd keep it, but not for every single race.
Yeah, I think for now it's probably best to not do it every week. I don't think Silverstone really suited it either. I feel like you could have picked a circuit where there's a lot more overtakes of you. It gives us more competitive racing to watch, so that makes it more exciting rather than because it's essentially replacing a practice. But I don't know. I feel like it probably ought to have been shorter.
Yeah,
because it was kind of done after lap 10. I don't think there was.
Yeah.
There was 17 laps, and like it was kind of done by halfway. Like everyone was sort of set in position. And I think an issue you've got is how much do you want to risk it going into a corner, knowing that if you bin it, you're at the back of the grid.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, of course, you're weighing that up in a race as well, but in a race, you've got, 50 to 60 laps to try and make that back up.
Mm.
If you don't crash and have to retire, obviously. But I don't know. I'm still kind of split. I think it's kind of not really fair on Russell, because it's just sort of it's designed to watch him drop back. I mean, it's not obviously it wasn't designed in mind to go right. You're not getting any points, but he does well to put the car where it is, and he's already got his hands full. He would have already had his hands full, say, if they took Friday's qualifying for the race to have kept that 8th position. But what did you make of his penalty that he got for that collision with Sainz? Personally, I thought that was a little bit harsh.
I thought it was a little bit harsh. I thought it could have gone down as a racing incident because it was lap 1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it seems. I think they've been penalty happy recently.
Yeah, they really have.
They've been a bit penalty happy.
They loved it in Austria.
I don't know. It's another one where I can see why it's been given, but I do think it's a bit harsh. But I can see why it's been given.
I'm probably more talking from a position of bias, just because I wanted to see.
I'm still desperate to see.
Russell.
I want to see him in the points. I think he will do it. I love how every time I ask you bold prediction, Russell's going to be in the points this week. I know it. And I keep saying Danny Rick's getting podiums. We're both in dreamland.
He's getting closer though.
He's getting closer. He's P5 now. I think if he gets P4 at Hungary, then yeah, he's. Oh, where's he gonna? Oh no, Australia's done this season, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's gonna win in. Where's he gonna win? I'm trying to think of a track.
Saudi Arabia.
He's gonna win there. But no, I think the Russell penalty was a tad harsh, but I can see why it's given. And it's not like it. I don't think Sainz was going to put it, P4 or P5. So it's not like he was. It didn't ruin his weekend, that sprint race. So
no, but I think he was lucky not to get a penalty himself with the way that he re-entered the track.
Yeah, was it Gasly who had to react?
I
want to say it was Gasly.
So, yeah.
But yeah, is that everyone, or do you want to talk about the back markers?
Actually, I have got something to add about Mazepin this week.
That overtake.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Overtake on Mick.
Yeah,
that was lovely.
In the perfect position to see that. It was, yeah. Me and my brother were just sort of sat there and we're like, it was quite funny to see, like, in the flesh, the difference in time that the Hassers were to everybody else. So we were sort of pointing that out every lap. Like, going,
they're not competing for the Constructors' Championship. They're just competing for the Haas Championship.
Yeah, we rag on them, but yeah, they're not really working with anything. But yeah, that was a lovely little overtake from him.
That was lovely.
I tell you what, as well, Perez, every single time he got to that corner, he was trying to make a move on someone. And then the one time he got a move on that corner, it was with Kimi, and that's why Kimi spun out.
Well, that's if he done it again. It was kind of similar to Austria, where when he rammed Charles Leclerc off.
Yeah,
it was kind of similar. He just didn't give Kimi any space. Just think he loves to squeeze people, doesn't he?
He does. He honestly, he went for someone every single time, because for the majority of the race he was like right behind someone, and he was looking at going round the outside and then hoping that he was on the inside through that corner, and then just him and Kimi just having a bit of a collision.
Yeah.
I will tell you what though, what made the experience even of Hamilton winning even more impressive is what made it different for me was that when you're watching it on the telly and it's numbers on a screen, and you're like, oh, that's a big gap. It's a big gap, but you don't actually show it to you very often. When you're seeing them come round every lap, and you see the distance when Lewis started catching Leclerc was insane. And then every single lap they're coming around, and you can see it's just a little bit closer, and then he does Bottas, and it's just that little bit every lap, and everyone were getting more and more behind him. Like, it was just, I just thoroughly enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant. I think
next year.
Next year, Pitlane Pod, we're gonna be down in the paddock.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be like old Martin Brundle doing his walk, or Ted Kravitz doing his walk. It's just gonna be me and you with our Blue Yeti microphones, Just seeing if we can chat to anyone.
Just running down, trying to get a look at the car.
Nikita!
All the mechanics standing in the way.
Nikita! A word!
I'm
definitely going next year. I'm trying to think who else. I think that's about it. I mean,
yeah,
Giovinazzi 13th. That's impressive.
solid.
That's about it.
I think you touched on your driver of the day. Are you giving it Leclerc?
I think it has to be. I mean, congrats, Lewis, but I have to give it to Leclerc.
I'm sort of torn between them. I think if you'd asked me directly after the race, it would have been Lewis, no question.
Yeah.
But I do think Leclerc put in a very good job, so I'm kind of split. I think just to be different, I'll say Hamilton.
Nice.
Just because, like,
great comeback drive.
Yeah. Have we got any bold predictions for Hungary?
We are in Hungary, which is a track Red Bull are usually good. I mean, Max, is it last year? He won there last year, didn't he?
I believe so. I can't remember though.
I want to say, I think Max might come back with a vengeance and win it. Old prediction. Not so much for the race. Can I give you a qualifying prediction?
Go ahead. Let's spot.
I'm going to give you a quali prediction. I'm saying Fernando Alonso is going to put his Alpine in P5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds nice.
P5.
Fernando Alonso is putting it P5.
I think I might.
An even bigger one.
Oh.
An even bigger prediction.
2 for 2 here.
I don't know why this is coming to my head. It's not going to happen. I think something is going to happen during that qualifying, which will cause it to stop. Perez will not make it out of Q1. You heard it here first, ladies and gents.
Ooh.
Setting up another miserable weekend for our resident Mexican.
I'm going to go for a driver who both of us love.
Does his name start with a D?
It doesn't.
Does his name start with an L?
Yeah. I'm going to say Lance Stroll.
Oh, wait, what?
Lance Stroll will finish the race in P6.
Oh, I thought you were about to say he's going to get a podium.
No, I'm not that bold.
P6. Oh, I can see. Okay, Aston Martin's being strong there. All right.
I'm going
to go with a boring Verstappen win. I'm going to go with a Verstappen win.
Yeah, I think Verstappen probably wins this one.
I think Perez is going to have a shocker, though.
Although, to caveat being boring and saying Verstappen wins, I'm going to say Verstappen win, but Bottas fastest lap.
Oh, okay. We're really analysing this race, aren't we?
What's none of this come true?
Giovinazzi is going to take someone out on the third on the third corner. He's going to collide with Latifi. You've heard it here first.
So we've got, after that weekend, that has really spiced up the drivers. Yeah.
After Hungary.
Oh, I don't know actually.
I think we have two. Wait, when's Hungary?
I'm not on that screen at the moment.
Hold on.
Yeah, I
know we have a break soon.
Let's have a look. We've got.
It's on the 1st of August. So we got under 2 weeks.
So it's not
that.
Yeah. And then we've got quite a bit of a break after Hungary to Belgium.
Oh, is it Belgium after?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Now we're getting stuck in.
Yeah, now we're talking.
But that race has really spiced up the drivers and the constructors' championship.
Yeah.
It puts Lewis Hamilton 8 points behind Verstappen. He could potentially level things up next time out with a race win. And well, if he wins and Verstappen comes second, he'd need to do the fastest lap to level things up.
Yeah.
That's assuming all of that happens. But it's close now.
It's getting
This
better.
is what we wanted.
Yeah, it's getting better.
I mean, not in the circumstances that we got it. I mean, we would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen that battle for the entire race. That would have been fantastic. Yeah. Although I did still enjoy the race that we got. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But Lando up into third.
I tell you, he is a contender. He is a contender.
What, for the title?
I think he is. Honestly, let's say, I don't know, another crash happens between Hamilton and Verstappen, and Lando goes on to get like a P2. He's like, those things. I don't see Lando DNFing much, but I can see these two getting into many more crashes.
There was a stat I saw that he's got the most consecutive point scoring finishes of any McLaren driver ever.
I mean, that's
and if you think the drivers that McLaren have had on their roster, Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, going way back, you've got James Hunt. McLaren have historically been a top team, and for Lando Norris to rack up that sort of a stat in a sport where it's easy for the engine to play up, something to go wrong mechanically that's not in his control in a race to put him lower in the point, to knock him out of the points. Pit stop gone bad, just an off day, a bad qualifying, a crash. To be that consistent in the points is incredibly good.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you say as well, you can't rule out Hamilton and Verstappen hitting each other, and they're both DNFing. So
yeah,
I guess he could creep up to him. I don't know. I don't know if that car's ready yet to be a title challenge. Maybe next season.
Next year. All right, do you want me to close this one out?
Oh, take it away, sir.
I'll take it away. Well, thank you, everyone, for all 6 of you, for listening to the Pitlane Formula One podcast. And we will see you next time in Hungary. And Jacob, I can't wait. I can't wait. Rightio, everyone. We will see you next time. Goodbye.